Hey everybody, it's Dean Miller. I'm sitting here, you caught me playing with the lights right before we go on, just trying to make sure if the sun goes down we don't lose each other. I have a strange framing today and I guess I'm a little behind in setting up. But anyway, I am Dean Miller and I am the dog counselor, and you probably have either seen me before or someone told you to tune in, or you just happen to accidentally come across me. But in any case, I'm really thankful you're here. I'm really grateful for the viewers who watch. We have quite a bit of regular people. Quite a bit of regular people. We have some regular people too. We have some abnormal people, but we have quite a regular audience that's starting to grow over this page, the Wolf Driver. Now, you may be familiar with the Wolf Driver page. It's full of all kinds of dog information. The Wolf Driver page was started by a guy named Bill Hellman, who drives his team of Huskies and Husky mixes and dogs on a cart that is pulled by him, and he goes on adventures in the woods and all over the trails and the mountains and everything. He even does ghost hunting with his dogs, which is really interesting. They also do, there are some shows on this page about dog yoga. There are shows about music. There are shows about breeds, breeding, all kinds of different topics. So I highly recommend you guys tune into the Wolf Driver each week and check us out. Look, we're getting some comments this week. I love the comments and the questions. I'm happy to answer anything you have there. How come dogs are scared of fireworks? Oh, Jessica's asking a question already. She's really ready with the questions. I'll go ahead and answer that, and then we'll get on to the topic of the day. Dogs hear maybe 3.5 to 4 times the level we hear, so they hear much more intensely than we do. So a loud noise, a scary noise, is 3.5 to 4 times more intense than it is for us. A firework is sudden. It's out of nowhere, just like thunder. Some dogs are afraid and some dogs aren't. I have 4 dogs. 3 of them are not fazed by thunder and fireworks. 1 is absolutely terrified. That's Flip, my brown mixed street dog that I found in the street when he was 3 months old in Texas. Flip is terrified of thunder and loud noises. The other dogs are not. I don't know exactly why, and I'm sure people don't know exactly why some dogs are scared and other dogs aren't, but I can tell you they hear more intensely. They have extra sensory perceptions than we do. They can smell, I'm sure if it's close enough, they can smell the gunpowder, the flames, the fireworks. But any unknown terrifying sound that's really loud close by would scare me, and I'm sure that's why it scares the dogs. They also can't control it. They don't see what's causing it. They don't see where it's coming from, and so that's terrifying to them too. It's an out-of-control situation. So those are some theories. No one can tell you for sure because your dog can't say, hey, this is why I'm scared of fireworks. If they could, we'd ask them about training. We'd have conversations about house training or whatever, and then I'd be out of a job if we could just have a conversation with them in English. But they don't speak words, so words are tough with a dog. So this week, I always try to base my episodes on what's going on in my life, what's going on at my sessions. I kind of bring in what seems to be the most common questions I'm getting when I go out and teach and train. And I wanted to address one of the big things that's always asked of me when I train. People wonder, is it okay if my dog sleeps on the bed? That seems to be this huge issue. I can tell you that in some cultures it's considered weird that a dog would sleep on the bed or in the house or whatever. American culture, some European countries, it's huge to have your dog sleep on the bed as a member of the family. And I as a dog trainer, many dog trainers would say no, never have your dog sleep on the bed. It's an absolute universal airtight rule. I am not that kind of trainer. I'm not of that school. I'm not of that theory. I have my dogs on the bed all the time. I have 4 dogs. I'm fortunate that I have a very tolerant girlfriend who allows 4 dogs on the bed. In fact, she loves it. I always said, in dating, you kind of have to find that person right off the bat. You have to know, are they going to be accepting of your dogs and your dogs in your life and your dogs on your bed? Well, that's kind of a deal breaker for me. I am a dog counselor. I do work with dogs all the time. I have 4 of them, and they're my family. So if someone's going to reject my dogs, they're basically rejecting me. So I've had to be very selective in my life about saying, my dogs are part of me. My dogs are like my kids, so they are my kids. So I choose who is in my life based on who accepts my family. This is my dogs. So anyway, I'm getting off track here, obviously. I get a little sentimental about my dogs. But my dogs sleep on the bed. I believe that's a personal choice. I don't think it's an airtight rule that they're not allowed on the bed, or, I think that Dr. Phil says something to his guests and his patients. He says, look, I'll give you the tools to teach your children, but you raise your children how you see fit. So I give you the tools to achieve the rules you want, the boundaries you want, the situations you want, but I'm not going to tell you what those rules are in your house. You're the parent of your dog, and you have to decide what the rules are and the expectations in your house. Is that a reflection? I'm looking at my own screen here and seeing something on my screen. I don't know what that is. Okay. Anyway, I think it's the arrow it's the cursor. I'm completely off track. Can you tell I have ADD? I tell people I have attention dog disorder, ADD. But anyway, when it comes to sleeping on the bed, it depends on the dog, it depends on the family, it depends on the individual. Some dogs are more territorial than others. Some dogs have a more hardcore attitude about what's theirs and what's not. Some dogs will leap on a bed and claim that space and say, that's mine, that's my space. I'm sure, I don't know, many of us have encountered dogs that they get on the bed, they find their space, and then you go to move them or touch them and they growl or they bite. That's a very hardcore, possessive, territorial dog. And that has to be treated differently than the average dog who just easily scoots out of the way and just finds a spot on the bed that's not inconvenient to you. I love my dogs curled up against me, pushed up against me, shoving against my leg, curling up against me. Maybe that's not the best attitude for a trainer, but they always move when I ask them to move. They're always responsive. They're really sweet. They don't have any trouble with the bed, and so if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But I would say it's a good idea to start, especially with puppies at a young age, or a new dog to your home, to start establishing that the bed belongs to you, and that the dog is up there because you are inviting them to be a part of this sleeping area. When a dog rushes ahead of you, jumps on the bed, claims a spot, especially if they claim a spot up near the pillows and defend that spot against you, or they take the best spot and then you come in later, that can often lead to leadership issues, crossed boundaries, who owns the bed. It's a nice ritual, I think, to ask your dog to sit and wait before you get in the bed, get comfortable, and then say, okay, come on up. If the dog's small, of course, you have to pick the dog up and lift them into the bed. Whatever the case, some people have stairs. Now, I have stairs beside my bed. They do make pet stairs, and I highly advise this for smaller dogs, dogs that are prone to injury. A dog like a dachshund is very long, and their spine can get hurt jumping and doing all these things. So a little staircase or up to the bed that's safe is often a healthier, easier way to go if you are going to have your dog in the bed. But I highly recommend that dog sits or waits, and then you bring them into the bed when invited. It's sort of like sit becomes their variation of please. It becomes their kind of variation of may I please get on the bed. And then when you say sit, wait, okay, come on the bed, that sets apart. There are things that are very important to dogs that are not important to us. I mean, I don't care who sits on my bed, whatever. A dog really cares, right? So if you set this little moment, it's like a ritual. Like if a child says, may I have some ice cream? That's totally different than a child saying, give me that ice cream, and grabbing it out of your hand and claiming it and then going over in the corner and eating it. The attitude with which your dog does something is a very major part in what's going on. If your dog learns to sit and wait before they get on the bed, and then they come up at your invitation, and then you dictate what area of the bed they're allowed to sleep on, that sets apart the bed as your territory, your bed, and the dog has to accommodate that. Now, a lot of people have this very complicated, human-esque thing that they do. They humanize the situation. They feel bad for the dog. They say, well, I want to keep it equal. I don't want to have any conflict with my dog. I assure you, a dog is not thinking like that. They're not thinking in terms of equal, or they're really creatures of hierarchy. Who is above, who is below, who's dominant, who's submissive. And so, for example, in a family, if the dad makes the rules and the 5-year-old kid follows the rules, it doesn't mean he's mean or dominant or cruel. It means he's the dad and we follow the rules. And that's the attitude we kind of want to have with our dogs. We want our dogs to look at us as mom and dad, leader. And so if I can just set some simple rules, like say please before you get in the bed, sit before you get in the bed. It's polite. Now if the dog climbs on the bed and they start claiming a spot, it's okay to turn. They'll turn a little bit before they lie down. Maybe they'll adjust a spot. There's nothing wrong with that. That's perfectly fine. But a lot of times dogs will push up toward the pillow, or try to edge up on your pillow, or worse, get above your head, or sleep at the head of the bed above you, or on top of your head, or on top of the pillow up here. And that is very dominant behavior. That is a dog sneaking, to kind of say, look, I feel kind of leader-like up here. And I would suggest that your dog sleep anywhere shoulders are below, basically. That's just a suggestion. Again, it's your house, your rules, but you may be creating a slow build to a dog thinking they're the alpha. If they're down below your shoulders somewhere on the bed, it's kind of sends a message that you are the leader, it's your bed. If the dog growls at you, grouches at you, they should get off the bed immediately. Off. No. A snarl can turn to a growl can turn to a bite. It can grow into bigger and bigger problems. And the sooner you nip that in the bud, the better. If a dog's going to growl at you, they need to be corrected and put off the bed. They can get back on the bed a little bit later, but you need them to learn the lesson that when they growl, they give up access to the bed. And then they can come back later that night, 30 minutes later, an hour later, or maybe another day, but they are not allowed on the bed if they're going to growl at you or if they're going to challenge you. That's not acceptable. In my house, we got 4 dogs, okay? One doesn't really care about being on the bed so much. He comes up intermittently, but he'll be there for a little while, he'll leave. He's very aloof. He's very much an independent dog. 3 of the dogs gotta be on the bed. They love being on the bed, they love being there with me, and they love to curl up against me and feel safe. But it is very clear in my house that I'm the alpha. I'm the dad. I'm the one who makes the rules. They don't challenge that. Occasionally they'll argue with each other about something, but nobody argues with me because it's very clear that I'm the alpha. And that's because I've set up other rules. So, for example, when we have children, we say, do your homework and go to bed at 9 o'clock and eat your vegetables. And those rules set up how the children treat the parents. Well, I've set rules in my house about the bed, about the food, about the areas they go, so that the dogs know never to challenge my authority. So that when they do get on the bed, they know it's my bed, they know what we're there for, they know what it's about and why we're doing it and what the order is to it. So that's kind of how I approach sleeping on the bed with dogs. I don't think there's anything wrong with it as long as there are rules and structure to it. And if the dog's going to challenge you, they must get down. And they should only get on the bed if you say it's okay. You don't want your child running in the room and getting in your bed if they don't have permission. So we need to make sure the dogs know they need permission to get on the bed. That's the bed topic. Let me check the time here. I always have to check the time because I ramble on and on and on. Uh-oh. Let me switch it back. There I am. I'm back. Let's see what time. 14 minutes. I don't know how I talk so long. I'd be bored listening to myself this long, to be honest. But I thank you guys for tuning in. You guys have been really loyal, and I appreciate you checking in. And any questions you have, please feel free to type them in here. I'm going to get to your questions and comments in a minute. And if you want to email me off when I'm not broadcasting, you can get to me at thedogcounselor.com. I am Dean at thedogcounselor.com if you want to email me. I do in-home visits. I come to people's homes for about 90 minutes, and in that time, I can really help transform most dogs, and you'll see results right in front of you during that 90-minute session. So if you ever want to book a session, I am in the Nashville, Tennessee area, but I travel all over the country, all over the world. I also teach seminars. If you want to hire me for a seminar to speak, I also do Skype sessions. If you want to hire me for a Skype session or a phone session, they're much less expensive than a 90-minute session in your home, but I would be happy to help you with your dog issues. I've also written a book, and that book is called A Dog's Way. There's my book, A Dog's Way. It's subtitled How Dogs Make Us Better People. It's available on my website, which is thedogcounselor.com, also at amazon.com if you want to check out the book. And as always, I try to plug my dog, Henry. There's Henry on the back. He's the beautiful, aloof dog that doesn't get on the bed very often. He's just a little loner kind of guy, and I love and respect him for that. Now, I'm going to get to your questions here. When I do your questions or your comments, I have to get right up on the camera because I can't read them from a distance. So let's see what we got here. I moved it. I agree. We are the parents of our pets. I treat them just like if they are my kids. That's Billy Johnson. And I would hope by that you also mean discipline and structure and rules, because we got to have that too with kids. My dog sleeps in my bed, and that's just how it's always going to be. That's Diana Sears. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, Diana. I'm happy to hear that should they sleep in your bed as long as things are going well and it's good. Samantha says, well, my dog will not get out of her puppy stage, and I sometimes wonder if I just put her on puppy Ritalin. I'm not a fan of medication. I am a fan of teaching and structure first. If you have to resort to medication, that's a last resort. But I'd be happy to help you if you want to contact me, email me, or call me at thedogcounselor.com. Let's see what we got here. Somebody said here, Billy, I hope your dog didn't eat your kids. I hope not. It's a misprint and not a typo. How can I get my dog to stop eating stuff when I'm not home? That is a very good question. I'm going to go off topic here to address that for a minute. Getting your dog to not destroy things when you're not home begins with teaching them how to feel about those objects when you are home. And one of the big mistakes we make is a dog goes to chew an object and we grab it away from them and say, no, and take that away and put it away and hide it or put it up on a shelf. And inadvertently, we're turning that moment exciting. We're turning that moment into a game. Chase the object. Oh, look, the object's disappearing. I can't wait till it returns again. So let me kind of show you. Let me grab something here that might work. Let's say this water bottle. See this water bottle? Let's say the water bottle is being chewed by a dog. Let's say this could be a shoe. This could be a broom. I don't know, whatever your dog chews on, a towel, a pillow. But let's say they're chewing this water bottle. When the dog is chewing and chewing and chewing on the object or has it in their mouth, and you go chase them and grab it and whatever, you're creating a dog game, okay? What we want to do is be as still as possible, walk over to the dog. We don't want to start saying no and all this stuff until we're close enough to enforce it. Okay, by that I mean I want to be close enough to touch the dog before I correct the dog. And then when the dog has their mouth on it, I'm going to say no, and I'm going to touch the dog briefly, okay? Then I'm going to take the object. Hopefully the dog has released it by that point. If they haven't, I'm going to hold the object and touch the dog, like on the shoulder or something. No. And I'm going to correct like a dog. No. And I'm going to stand there until the dog releases it. If I pull or turn this into a game, then that becomes a big nightmare game. So what I want to do is say no, the dog finally releases it, then I say good dog. And I put that object right down in front of them, right where we are. And then when the dog goes to approach it again, I'm saying no, no. And I'm not letting the dog approach. You'll see the dog begin to create what I call a respect arch. It's like a dominant dog will kind of make a dog stand back and move around and not move into the space. And if the dog's not moving into the space of the object, they're beginning to learn how to feel about the object. And then if the dog relaxes and surrenders or looks to you for permission, or better yet, just wanders off and loses interest, that's when we pick up the object and put it away. We tend to not do that follow-through part about teaching them how to feel about the object. Then the next 2, 3, 4 times the object is down, the dog knows how to feel about them. And we need to do this about every thing the dog is going to be destructive about. We also tend to move too fast with letting our dog be free in the house. A dog can't just go from kennel to whole house, or 0 to 60 as I call it. The dog has to go from the kennel to maybe 15 minutes free, supervised in a room where you check in once in a while, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, then we go to an hour. Then they do good in that room. We make them good in 2 rooms, 3 rooms, and then we can start to leave the house when we see no problems. But we can't just turn a dog loose in a house full of distractions and hope they won't be destructive. We also need to make 2 or 3 toys more interesting than what they're being destructive about. So if the dog is able to have, let's say, a Nylabone or a Kong toy, and that Kong toy has peanut butter on it, or chicken broth, or kibble inside it, that's going to be more interesting than your books, your shoes, the things they're destroying. So I highly recommend that you do this in increments and baby steps, and if you want to get into more detail about it, you can contact me at thedogcounselor.com, or you can email me at dean@thedogcounselor.com, and we'll discuss it further. All right, let's see what else we have here. I got to get up on the phone again so I can really read this. Anne says, I really wish people would consider adopting from a shelter. I'm not happy about the breeding of dogs or cats for the profit of money when so many others suffer in a shelter getting ready to be put to sleep because they have no homes. I completely agree with you, Anne. That is something I am very, very concerned about. It often seems like the tidal wave that will never end, this unwanted dogs and cats. It's very, very upsetting. So let's see here. I agree with Anne. Diana says, I do too. Blanche says, no, he chews at my doors and stuff I've replaced and repaired them so many times. Okay, that then, Blanche, is a totally separate issue. That is separation anxiety. And that's a whole separate issue that I could help you with. But I'd stop repairing the doors until we are sure that we have the behavior changed. You can't keep changing the doors and hoping the behavior changes. That sounds like anxiety to me. The same way a person would bite their fingernails or smoke a cigarette to alleviate anxiety. When a dog has separation anxiety, they're alleviating the anxiety onto an object. It just sounds like the dog misses you, but to a neurotic degree. And we need to stop it at what I call level 1 before it ramps up to level 10 where they're eating your doors. I can help you with this, but not in a 5-minute answer on the broadcast here. If you'd like for me to work with you on a Skype session, or if you'd like a private session in your home, I would be happy to help you. Just contact me at dean@thedogcounselor.com. Let me check the time here. Let's see what we're doing on time. Oh, I've got a good 8 minutes left. I want to talk to you a little bit about my kind of approach to training. I do home visits, as I said. I've been training for probably 15 years or more. And I hand out at my dog appointments, I hand out these sheets, and these sheets have piles of information on them about training and different things. I put pet sitters on here, training sites, boarding facilities. By the way, I'll just give a little quick plug. There's a training site called Dogstar Daily that is one of my favorites, and it was started by a guy named Dr. Ian Dunbar, who changed the way dogs are trained. He started teaching based on the way dogs think and not on the methods of control and dominance. So if you want to check out Dogstar Daily, there's some great information there, especially a couple of great books about puppies and when we adopt puppies. So I don't have time to go through all these sheets. I was going to go through all of these sheets with you. Why don't I talk about the sheets, and then next week I will maybe each week I'll take one of these sheets and go through what they have to say, because I chose this material very carefully because it's backup material that I leave with my clients after I've spent time talking to them and working with them. Because I think it's tough to get all the information in an hour and a half, and I want to give them some written material when I leave. I have one sheet that's full of 10 rules for dog training success. And we should probably devote the whole episode next time to that. I do these episodes Thursday nights at 8 and Sunday nights at 6 p.m. That's Central Time. I'm here twice a week, every week, Thursday nights, 8 p.m., Sunday nights, 6 p.m. on the Wolf Driver channel. Uh-oh. I just noticed this thing is coming up on my screen. Let me turn that off. But yes, you want to check out the Wolf Driver channel because it's full of every kind of dog information you would want. But anyway, so back to my sheets. I had that one that's 10 rules for dog training success, and the first line says it all. Well-mannered dogs don't just happen. They don't. And people just think they pick up a dog at the shelter or adopt a puppy and they just are going to come prepackaged and be perfect. Well, that's just not true. So well-mannered dogs don't just happen, and training them correctly is a labor of love, and it's lots of fun. And that's true. So I'm going to read from this next week, Thursday, when I have my next episode. But that's one of the sheets I give out. I give out another sheet that's called the 10 Commandments for Dogs from a dog's point of view. So if your dog could tell you some things about what it means to have a dog, that's kind of what that's based on. It's really, really good. And I'll probably just do one of these. I don't know why this keeps popping up on my screen. I'll just probably do one of these sheets every episode, and we'll discuss, because they're full of great information. And I'll talk to you and answer your questions about that. And then the last sheet on here is promises to my dog. And this is what I would say. When we get a dog, it is a major life commitment. It's a big relationship, okay? A dog, basically, I don't know why my computer is deciding to go crazy, but it is. A dog is a commitment. It's a bigger relationship it's oftentimes a bigger relationship than a human relationship, because your dog needs you to live. Your dog needs you for his very life. You are your dog's whole world. And even more so than human to human, a dog depends on you for his very life. And I want you to take that so seriously when you commit to adopting a dog. It is very true. I'm going to turn this off because my computer's going crazy. Sorry. It is a very serious commitment, and I cannot emphasize more how serious a commitment to having a dog is. I take it very seriously. It's the most important thing in life, okay? Okay. I am going to sign off now. I want to thank you guys for joining me. Please join us here every Thursday night at 8, Sunday night at 6, and I will be glad to answer all your questions about dog training and dog behavior. Please check in, and I will talk to you soon. You are the best. Thank you so much for being here with the Dog Counselor. Bye, guys.